I'm the Vacuuminator.
And Buster?
And this week in Toku, we're going to be discussing new Ultraman DVDs, new Wizard Figuarts, and new Build Toys. But before all that, Buster, how you doing?
Not good, but okay. I mean, when you say build toys, I'm like, oh, my mood just, it's the best day ever.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole thing to discuss. But how's your week been going? How you feeling?
Mid. I don't like using that word, but I have to break it out for extreme circumstances.
We can both agree, we hate the memification of mid, but it's still a good descriptor when used properly.
Yeah. It's like, there's good things, and I got a video on today, but I can't focus on anything, and I hate that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, my ADHD autism is kicking me butt recently. I hope I can fix that. How's life kicking your butt, Mr. Vacuuminator?
Well, I mean, you know a lot about what's been going on lately. I'm having a lot of IRL bullshit happening to me that's kind of going to be interfering with this side of my life for at least a month or two. And that's been a massive pain in the ass, but it hasn't wrecked me. It's just I got to deal with this and it's going to suck, but life comes at you sometimes and you got to deal with it. That's the kind of mindset I'm in. And there's still good things happening on the side. I mean, we got a Blu Ray that I'm very excited to talk about.
Yeah.
There was good episodes this week. There's some fun news.
Yeah, and even on
non-Toku,
and even non-Toku stuff, I watched that cyberpunk anime, and that was really good. I was impressed by it. I was like,
yeah,
Trigger don't miss. I mean, except they kind of do miss sometimes, but this was a hit.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, here's a plug for the No Prize podcast. I really enjoyed this week's episode of She-Hulk, and there was a couple really good comics out this week, and we got a new HasLab announced this week, and that was kind of fun to spectate. I'm not going to be going in on that one because of some monetary issues, and also it's just not something I super care about. But I thought it looked really cool.
I really wish I had the money for it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, same. But I think that's about all the life stuff we need to get into for this week. So real quick, hey everyone, this podcast is brought to you by Modular Media, the creative co-op that we're both members of. So please help us out in the YouTube algorithm. Give us a like, comment down below with some of your thoughts on stuff that happened this week in Toku. Subscribe and ring the bell in order to enable notifications and get every episode of the podcast and the other podcasts we do on this channel, like the No Prize podcast, where we discuss the MCU, Marvel, and general comic book shenanigans from throughout the week, and Components, where we just hang out and shoot the shit, sometimes with a guest, delivered to your sub box. And follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media to get news and updates about everything we're doing, and join the subreddits because nobody seems to want to, and it would be nice if that wasn't just another place for us to post the videos. But that's all the plugging I have to do for right now. So let's go ahead and get into the news. And the first bit of news is a bit of a banger, in my opinion, because for the first time in a while, Mill Creek Entertainment has announced new Ultraman DVDs.
I mean, okay, we knew these are coming along with 3 others that are going to be out by the end of the year. We already know they're coming, but these are just the cover box and the official solicitations for these DVDs.
Okay, I somehow must have missed those initial announcements, or I don't remember them.
Yeah, because Nexus is coming by the end of the year, which has me super excited. But these ones are really exciting too, because we're getting Zearth.
Yeah, we're getting Zearth, Neos, and Cosmos.
Which are all kind of mini Ultraman things, because they're either a movie compilations, in Zearth's case, it's a duology of movies. They were going to do a 3rd movie, but then the Tiga blowout success happened, so they just kind of forgot about the 3rd movie. And Neos is a 12-episode miniseries, and then Cosmos is 3 movies.
So it's obscure, semi-obscure side projects.
Yeah. Movie Ultraman.
Yeah, but it's all cool stuff, and hey, it's one of these things is an older Ultraman thing I've actually seen. Neos is the one random show that's not the first 2 or one of the most recent ones that I've seen.
Why Neos?
I don't know. I think it just back when I was randomly selecting what show I watched next, I think it came up and I just went with it. And Naos is fairly solid. I have like more in-depth thoughts in it I'll get into someday, maybe soon. But like I do like it, so I probably will pick up this set at some point. Maybe not initially because again, I've had very sudden money issues come up. But hopefully at some point, probably by this time next year, I will have that set in hand.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap and like mass quantity produced, so I think you'll be able to get it via Amazon or Mill Creek site. And actually, I watched Zearth for the first time this week, and I can't wait to talk about it later.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
And like from what I hear, Cosmos is another one that's like a cult favorite.
yeah, I know Cosmos has been appearing on like other like new gen Ultra stuff. Like, no, I think I'm confusing it with Hikari, but yeah, Cosmos is neat.
Yeah. But like still cool little announcement, more Ultra stuff on the way. And speaking of which, we have a very slight excuse me. We have a very slight update on Shin Ultraman's international releases. And the basic gist of this is that God, I am like really kind of scratchy in my throat all of a sudden. A Los Angeles-based company called The Exchange, who I don't know very well, but I have heard that name before. They've acquired the rights to distribute Shin Ultraman in North America, Europe, Latin America, Australia, New Zealand, and a few other minor territories. So we're probably very close to like a proper release for it. Now, it's gonna start showing in some of those countries we talked about a while back in October, but I think we're probably closer than we thought to an American release. Like we could see it maybe by the end of the year or beginning of next year.
My bet's on December because Christ and Ultraman they go hand in hand, and also because it might be late November, but early November is gonna be like if you want to see a Japanese film in theaters, One Piece Film Red comes out. So it's like I don't know if they want like I know like One Piece fans and Ultraman fans aren't really like a conflicting bunch as I'm implying, but like their specific market of like Japanese film to American shores. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like also kind of stuck on what you said at the beginning there. Ultraman keeping the Christ in Christmas.
Newbie, like legit, like he literally does the like Christ pose for his finisher.
Yeah. Oh man. But no, this is good news. I'm fairly excited about this. I want to see this movie. Like this is one of the very rare exceptions I would probably have in the future of my life too. I don't want to go to theaters anymore.
Dang, yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. Like this and One Piece Film Red are like the only films I'm like itching to see for the rest of the year. I mean, Black Adam, I guess, but like that's more of a morbid curiosity.
I mean, honestly, even as like a childhood hardcore DC guy, I feel like I can wait for Black Adam to be on streaming.
Yeah. Also, it'd just be funny to see Warner Brothers lose more money. But anyway.
All right, let's move on to some Toei news. And first and foremost is that, hey, the Toei Tokusatsu World YouTube channel isn't dead. In fact, it just hit 400k subscribers, and they're going to be doing a bit of a celebration program of releasing more classic movies on the channel. We're going to get Kamen Rider Black, Hurry to Onigashima, Kamen Rider Double, the movie, Forever, A to Z, The Gaia Memories of Fate, Kamen Rider vs. Shocker, Kamen Rider Black, Terrifying, The Phantom Horse of Devil Pass, and Kamen Rider vs. the Ambassador from Hell, all within the next couple months, which is pretty cool and exciting.
And they said they have a big announcement by the end of, like, when Ambassador from Hell releases, they'll have a big announcement to tease.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that, but, like, generally seems like a good collection of movies. I've not seen either of the original Kamen Rider movies, and obviously I've not seen the Double movie, but everybody who has seen Gaia Memories of Fate talks up how good that movie is. And
okay, overhype it because the color grading in that film is awful. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, it is like a weird, like, there's this weird thing with double side content for a bit, where it's like, Koichi Sakamoto directed it, and it's like, the colors just looked wash out, and I'm like, why do they look, you're ruining the potential of this beautiful Eternal suit, man. I'm sorry,
But like
The
Kamen Rider
he's
Black
good.
Hurry to Onigashima, excuse me. That movie is fantastic. I legitimately love that movie, and I think it's one of the few Rider movies that, like, even though it's attached to a series, stands pretty well on its own. It's just like a fun action adventure that you can sit down and watch. So I would recommend if people haven't seen that, checking it out. You'd probably skip Terrifying the Phantom Horse of Devil Pass, because that one just felt like a low effort. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty cool thing that's happening. You know, more Kamen Rider content getting exposed to the West.
I
Can't go wrong
hope
there.
I hope the big announcement. This is like they're not gonna do this, but like I hope is like we're going to pick 3 of the most popular 2 episodes and expand on those.
Oh,
Like
please, for the love of God.
like we're like it doesn't have to be all the series. It just has to be like 1 or 2. Okay.
Or like, hey, can we simulcast Geats?
Yeah, because like the Geats toys come out in America in October, and that makes me think. I have this weird conspiracy brain being like, wait a minute, they haven't announced a simulcast yet because they're gonna do that weird Toei late simulcast thing they did with Pretty Cure and Dragon Ball. Like,
Mhm.
because for some reason Toei likes doing late simulcasts where it's like, oh yeah, we'll simulcast it now.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the only thing keeping them from simulcasting I could possibly think of, since like it's proven that there is an interest for Kamen Rider in the West now, would be like they don't want to make TV Asahi mad and seem like they're trying to compete with them, but like all you have to do is region lock it to countries where TV Asahi doesn't exist.
Yeah, like even so, like we're gonna talk about a Kamen Rider Blu Ray later on of a series that aired on TV Asahi. So yeah.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry.
There's multiple pronunciations for it probably. I don't know.
Okay. I actually never heard anyone say it out loud. I've always just assumed it's Asashi,
Yeah,
but
maybe the
whatever.
Kamen Rider G special will reveal all because apparently Kamen Rider G was like a anniversary project for TV Asahi.
Mm. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to some merch news. First and foremost, we have the full solicitation for SH Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider Wizard Flame Dragon. Uh, this thing looks really good, like way better than I think it has any right to, especially considering this is a form that straight up they never did in Figuarts the first time around. They just skipped all the dragon forms. Uh, and I really like how it looks. It's maybe a bit gappy in the arms in some places, but I think they did a great job on a form that could have come off looking really garish. And honestly, in the show, I think the dragon forms look a bit too garish. But something about the colors on this figure, they've like toned it down slightly to look really cool and slick. And like, I wouldn't buy the other dragon forms if they made it, but I'm now interested in getting this specific Figuarts
Yeah,
when I
especially because
have
you can do
my.
the super form. You can like make the whole dragon super form with this.
Yeah,
Apparently.
they give you the parts to just straight up do all dragon, which makes me think we probably aren't getting the other dragon forms, because Figuarts, I would think, would be like, okay, you're gonna get this dragon piece with this one and these dragon pieces with
Yeah.
this one, so buy all of them to make all dragon. But no, you're just getting it all in one package, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, maybe they're doing this because, like, if they're gonna do like an Infinity style Shinchoku Seihou, they want to also include dragon parts for that. So they're just setting a precedent or something.
Yeah, entirely possible. But this is going to be releasing in March of next year. The pre-orders are already up and active for roughly $92 USD, depending on where you go. So,
Hooray!
yeah. So let's move into news that is going to make you happy. First and foremost, Kamen Rider Build is getting a Super Best re-release
Well,
line,
it's the
and
5th anniversary.
well, for those of you who don't know, because they haven't done it in like a long ass time, Super Best was like Toei's or Bandai's way of re-releasing Kamen Rider toys with slight updates to make them more fully featured before CSM completely took off. And it's really interesting that they're doing this instead of just going straight to a CSM build driver, because that's kind of been the standard practice recently. But no, it's just straight up we are getting re-releases of the build driver, the dragon buckle thing, and 2-pack of the Hazard Trigger and the Rabbit and Tank bottle. So basically, if you missed out on the original build line, you're basically getting a chance here to purchase all the basic kit in kind of one go at pretty affordable prices, because these are getting proper US releases through Bluefin.
Yeah, I'm definitely eyeing the Bluefin releases of these. The ones I'm eyeing are like Build Driver, of course, and Cross C. I don't really care about Hazard Trigger unless it's like they're gonna do an Evo pack. I don't really care about the trigger items, because I heard they were bad anyway. So I'm very excited about this. I've been like eyeing a Build Driver for a while. Heck, I just also want an Evil. I've been thinking about getting an Evil Driver first, just because it's like I like Evil more, but like, you know, I'll also have a Build Driver. So I just hope Super Best also extends to Evil later, because we have a villain. We do have like a villainous item to talk about, a long-awaited villainous item to talk about.
But before we get on to that, I just want to say real quick, like, I am definitely not interested in any of this stuff, just because, like, I do like Build. It's not one of my favorites like it is yours, but every review I have seen of Build roleplay toys, they just look very mid as far as Kamen Rider stuff usually goes. Like, the fact that full bottles are just plastic hunks that shake doesn't really seem very fun, and the sounds you get when you put them in a driver are fairly mundane, in my opinion. And also, you are correct. The original release of the Hazard Trigger was extremely, for lack of a better term, trigger happy. You could set that thing off with like the most bare flicks or just from shaking it around. It was not a well-made toy, and I do hope they fix that upon this release, but who knows?
Yeah, you're the one who told me the Hazard Trigger toy was a bit whack in the first place. So.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and move on to the new stuff now, which is that we are also getting through Premium Bandai the DX Kilbus Spider Full Bottle and DX Full Bottle Final Set, which is basically, here is a bunch of stuff that happened towards the end of Build that we never actually released, or like slight upgrades on very minor things. Because one of the things in the final bottle set is a new Televikun bottle, because the original Televikun bottle was just opaque plastic all the way around, and it was the only full bottle that had that. This actually gives it translucent plastic like the rest of the full bottles.
Nice. I've not now. Now at the moment I might see it soon, but I have not seen the Cross New World V-Cinema.
Yeah, because that's Kilba. He's the villain of that, right?
Yeah. But like, I kind of want like I really like the design of that and Kilba's suit, and also I like, from what I hear about the lore, he's not like an interesting character, but I do like him from like a Build lore perspective, you know.
Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, it looks like a fairly solid toy, as any toy that's remolded from the Cross Dragon, because that's what this is. This and the Perfect Kingdom full bottle set is a remold of Cross Dragon as well.
Yeah, but I do hope there is more to these Build re-releases. Like, again, I want an Evil Driver. Like, I was gonna buy it from Taka once, and then like someone sniped it from me, and I'm like, ah.
I wouldn't be surprised if these releases are just like them wrapping up Build, like finally coming back and doing that, and then like in another year or two, we might get a Build CSM line.
Man, I mean, I wouldn't like. I do understand that, especially because I think right now the actors are too busy, and you want to get like their voice lines for CSM, and like you want to have them promote the CSM, like they did with like Gaim and Blade. So I think that's why, like, maybe they're like, maybe the original plan was to do CSM, but then like conspiracy theory. So I go on conspiracy theory. I need to stop. But well, yeah, like, you get what.
That's the kind of stuff I enjoy doing, though.
Yeah, fair. Boy, I don't want to spread misinformation.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to go ahead and move on then?
Yeah. Also, right. Funny story: the original release of the Evil Trigger is like, just the trigger itself is $140. Oof. You're welcome, brain cells. Anyway.
All right. So we've got a little bit of 01 news this week as well, because SH Figuarts has announced Kamen Rider Vulcan Lone Wolf, which, if you don't remember, is the V-Cinema form for Vulcan, And this is really interesting to me because they've skipped to this and they're just apparently not doing Rampage or not doing it anytime soon. They're just doing this to get it out because they also did the Valkyrie V-Cinema form earlier this year, I think.
Yeah. We talked about it. I remember.
Yeah.
This is also probably simpler because this is a kit bash of like Ichigata parts, and I think they already did an Ichigata figure.
Yeah,
And
they
so,
did.
like, yeah, so it's like this is probably simpler to do because Rampage is like asymmetrical and got like extra colors. And I do like Lone Wolf 4, and I love its story. Like, as much as we shit on that V Cinema, I do love what the form represents in the story.
Yeah, it's a good solid form. There's some nice themes to it, and I also just think it looks really solid. Like
Yeah,
it's
the
one of
shade of
Fua's
blue.
better. It's one of Fua's best looking forms. I think my ranking of like top 3 would probably be this, Punching Kong, and then the original form.
I'd put like Assault, like both of his Assault forms, the Naki form and the first Assault, like up
Oh,
there.
I haven't looked at Assault Wolf in a while. Let me Google that really quick.
Yeah, but I would get this figure if it wasn't stupid expensive, as V Cinema premium Bandai stuff usually is. But yeah, I do love the figure photography they got there, especially the one where he's like back with Metsubo Jinrai. That's very oh, that's hype.
Yeah, you know what? Assault Wolf is my new number 2.
Nice. Yeah.
I like this form a lot. Jeez, why have I not thought about this form in a while?
They
But
kind of
yeah,
abandoned it quick because they did like
yeah,
Shining
because
Assault Hub.
they gave the assault trigger to Aruto really quick.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is also going to be coming out in March along with Flame Dragon, and if I can check it real quick, this one's actually going to be roughly $50 USD for anyone who wants it.
Ooh, that's actually reasonable for Figuarts.
Yeah. Um,
Speaking of figures,
Yeah, probably going to be figures someday. Revice is, of course, getting its V Cinema very soon, and we have the V Cinema forms revealed. Kamen Rider, Evil and Live. What are these forms called?
Marvelous form.
Yeah, and then Kamen Rider Demons, Imperial Demons. So I think the opinion on these is pretty unanimous. I've seen one person disagreeing with it, but Evil and Live look like shit, and Demons is all right.
Yeah, I like the cape on Demons. It's not the usual Toei garbage cape, which I love that cape, but like, you know, it's nice to see some variation on it.
Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of people making fun of him because apparently those shoes are new and they kind of look like Crocs.
They kind of do, but like they still fit with the overall aesthetic. So what you gonna do? I don't know what's going on. Okay, Marvelous form. Let's break this down. Thematically, this might be cool, and I like that it's using the Revice driver.
It's Revice colors on those suits, which just like, doesn't work. It's somehow even worse than the colors on the original Live form.
Yeah, like Evil is fine. Evil, it's fine, but like Live is just there's too many colors going on there. There's just way too many colors going on there. And also like I don't know why, probably because I've been playing a lot of Splatoon, but like the freaking like pink, it looks like pink ink that like you would like fight in the Splatoon story mode. It's I'm just like I just want to like get out my ink shooter and just like spray it, just be like I'll save you.
You're just like, here, Daiji, you need a form change. Let's get you some nice hot pink paints.
Yeah, I don't know, just. I guess unintentional synergy on Toei's part.
I'm not in love with these. I probably like even if they did Imperial Demons as a Figuarts, I don't think I would get it just because like the cape's a cool idea, but like Bandai ain't good at making capes, so that would not be a good figure in my opinion. And I like. I'm not going to argue with you here, Buster, but I don't even like those colors on Evil. I think they look really bad.
No, I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying it's better than like Live, because like with Evil, it's like okay, there's less going on. Live is just there's too much going on.
They're better in like how Power Rangers Operation Overdrive is slightly better than Power Rangers Turbo because there's not an amazing season right before it.
Fair. I don't know. I haven't seen. I have the Overdrive downloaded on my laptop. I just haven't seen it yet.
All right. Well, we do have a bit more Revice news, which is very interesting because kind of out of nowhere, Revice is getting a second Hyper Battle DVD.
I think they already filmed this during like the initial production block of Revice. It's just that they just were like too many people were working on different special effects things at Toei. It's like, hey, can you finish this thing now? And this is like an alternate universe thing. It's like Daiji is Revice, and people got blue streaks in their hair, and
yeah, it's like Iki goes to an alternate universe where George is into Showa riders. It looks like.
Yeah, over Heisei, because like in his insert song, he does call like Heisei Golden Age, like implying that's his favorite era. Which I mean, he likes Showa riders, like, but like this is like where he's like a Showa elitist over a Heisei elitist.
And like there's going to be a new form which is very kitbashy but is meant to be like here's just the Showa rider form. Like it's very specifically based off of Kamen Rider 2, but it's got other little elements of other Showa riders in it.
I like the gloves. I like the punchy, like the thick, low punchy gloves. Those are like my favorite part of it.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's better than Marvelous form.
Yeah, I mean, like anything's better than Marvelous form at that rate. Although, like honestly, I thought it was based on Kamen Rider Stronger because of how buff it looked, and I'm like, wait, did my prediction of a stronger form from when Revice was first announced came true? And I'm like, no, it didn't, but who cares?
I can definitely see how you would have that misconception, but
I just like Stronger anyways.
Yeah, Stronger's a good boy from what I hear. I do want to watch his show at some point. But final bit of news this week is actually a little bit of Geats news, which is that there's going to be a campaign via Premium Bandai where they are releasing some a Geats shirt and a Kabuto sort of like legacy shirt. And if you buy either of these items from Premium Bandai, you will also get a Kabuto Zector Rise buckle. And I gotta admit, for somebody who doesn't usually like Bandai shirt designs, I think both of these look pretty slick, and I like that they're continuing on with the legacy driver Rise buckles, and they're like releasing all of them in interesting ways. It's a little different from the way Toei usually or Bandai usually does things.
Yeah, like I think that like they're not treating them as like here's like filler for the toy line. It's like these are special items, which they probably should be. But these shirts are great. I do kind of love how they basically just lead into Geats and Tycoon got some like Kabuto Gatak similarities in terms of their dynamic with like this event. And like I want that Kabuto shirt. I want that Geats shirt. It's something Kagami. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. But no, solid bit of merch. I'm not going to be picking it up anytime soon, but I imagine if I ever get into the Geats toy line or I watch Kabuto, I would probably track this stuff down.
I hope Bluefin makes, because they sell shirts a lot. I hope they reprint these shirts for an American market. That would be really cool.
Blue, that's one thing I would say, like we talk about like Bluefin and Team Rider needing to be better at stuff all the time, or at least we used to. We haven't done it in a minute. Yeah. But I wish Bluefin would just straight up be like, yo, whenever Premium Bandai announces a shirt, we're also releasing that shirt.
Yeah, because they're already basically doing toy line now. So like let's start to creep into shirts, like just miscellaneous stuff, because those are some good shirts, you know.
And I mean, like shirts are much easier to justify buying than toys.
Yeah, because they're useful. They're useful items. We wear them.
But that is all the news that's fit to print. So, Buster, why don't you go ahead and take us on to new releases?
All right, Ultraman Decker, episode 10. We're finally in the double digits of Decker. Man and Monster.
This episode was fucking great.
Yeah, like, whoa.
Like we've talked. I've said this about several Decker episodes now, but this episode is just like straight up a classic sci-fi concept through the lens of Ultraman and Decker's specific premise, and it's done so well.
Yeah, like the whole like, and also character building. I know like this is like the low bar, but Trigger did not develop any of the side characters, did not give them any backstory or flesh them out personality wise, and like Decker is just like, okay, here's the bare minimum, and I'm being fed.
Yeah, we got an episode for the commander last week, and this week is an episode about the vice commander and kind of her backstory and ideals, and it's all framed through like a very classic "don't fuck with nature" kaiju story, which was really cool.
Yeah, and there's some really cool action in this episode as well with
Yeah, I feel like the effects like stepped it up a notch this week.
Yeah, we got that great shot of like Decker holding the vice commander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also just dug like it seemed like they used some locations we either haven't seen in a while or like are brand new because like some of those forest areas they were in I haven't seen before.
I think I've seen them in Rube. It's just we haven't had many forest fights in Decker yet. It's mostly been city fights, so it's like a nice change of pace for this series.
Yeah, and then like there's some great little like character moments. Like I love the bit where during the fight where like Ultraman is on the ropes and then fucking Hanijiro just comes out of nowhere and like a boss turns into a jetpack for him.
Yeah, and then like that, and then they even like did like a different take for the henshin into strong form where it's like they had wireworks up there.
Yeah, that was such great attention to detail.
Yeah, and it just like it really shows you like man. They really went above and beyond. This is a story you can tell the writers were passionate about and like really wanted to get out there and they wanted to explore, you know?
It feels like everybody is putting their best foot forward on this show. Like it's not always like an A plus, but it always feels like everybody is trying to do the best they possibly can.
Yeah. And like just and just that final confrontation of like they're like of like the vice captain doesn't really get it across to her friend well, but like she's still firm with her ideals. That was such a great scene. Like such a bittersweet end to that episode. It's just Decker good.
Yeah.
Again, it's a good beginner series, and it's good like Ultraman fundamentals. I love it.
Great episode this week, and hopefully this is the start of like a true upward trend for Trigger. I really love that. Decker, excuse me.
Trigger's done, boy. Trigger's done. There is no upward.
We can't save it now.
Yeah. I mean, we are getting that really cool mech next episode, so it's probably gonna be a two-parter.
Yeah, and that mech, like we kind of clowned on that when we got the toy reveal. The suit for that mech looks really awesome.
Yeah, I do like the suit for it. I don't think I was like in that episode about the mech because I think Tim was there. But anyway, what else? Yeah, that's all I got for Decker. Good Decker. It's always good to have like the other two superhero time. Well, the superhero time block is kind of trying to push boundaries. It's always good to have like the fundamentals down. Like,
yeah, it's like superhero time is experimenting and like trying to push boundaries, and right now Subaraya is just there as the rock.
Yeah, the fundamentals that like remind us why we love this stuff in the film. I mean, we do love the other two episodes, I assume.
We'll get into this.
Yeah, but first we got to finish a special. Kamen Rider Janine and Kamen Rider Algera with Girls Remix Episode 3 finale. I don't know why this took so long to get subbed, but hey, we're here.
I mean, it's only being subbed as like a side project by one person, and they were probably just busy the last couple weeks. But hey, we got it, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, this is like the big blowout finale of like, let's see all the crossover interaction fights and shebang.
Yeah, it's less like, oh man, there's a bunch of like thematic stuff to dive into. Like there's nothing that we haven't already said about this show that you can't like say about this episode. Like there's nothing new thematically here, but it's just kind of like a good solid end cap on everything that's happened with a little bit of extra fan service.
Yeah, like that Tsukiyomi when she appeared, that was really hype.
Yeah, like as somebody who doesn't super care for Geo, I was like, oh shit, Tsukiyomi's here, let's go.
Yeah, like I honestly I thought she was one of the weaker parts of Geo as someone who did like it. But like I was really excited to see her here. I was like, man, I really wish that she could have like because apparently Kamen Rider Tsukiyomi was supposed to appear way earlier than she did in Geo.
Yeah, and I love that they kind of poked fun at that. The first thing she says when she shows up right before she transforms is, "I'll make up for my tardiness."
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I was probably because she was like late. She was like the last character to appear, but so you could read it into it in a meta sense.
And then I did enjoy seeing Rinko again, but like I also kind of got a chuckle out of it because it was just like it's so very clear that they only had that actress for one day, and it was not a day where they could get any of the other actresses.
Yeah. Wait, did Valkyrie appear? Like, she was only in, like, one episode of this.
Valkyrie appeared in suit only in that opening scene with Rinko.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, why? It's like I know she was gonna appear in suit only, but why only in that one scene? I don't know. If you're, I'm just whatever.
But like overall, it was still really fun, and like this felt like a really nice kind of like almost apropos of nothing, but still welcome celebration of female writers and strong female characters and writer in general.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, like we still have progress to go, but like we're finally like starting to get into a stable place with those things.
I mean, we have enough female writers that we can kind of make a Sentai team out of them now. Like, a few years ago, I would not have thought we'd be able to say that by now.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that would have made this special better is if Akira from...
See, I thought you were gonna say is if Fom showed up.
Okay, like, Fom, I basically, like, I've lost all hope, but, like, redeem Akira from Hibiki, because the way she, like, went out on that show was so bad. I'm sorry. I got heated about Hibiki again.
I have not seen Hibiki, so I can't attest to that, but I will say, like, my one nitpick with this episode is the way they get around using Canon Spectre, which is to say that Makoto hid her driver and icons because it's too dangerous. I'm like, bro, she is a grown-ass adult. Don't fucking do that, you weird overprotective creep. And Canon, you're a grown-ass adult. Don't let him do that to you.
Oh, that's oddly, like, out of character. I feel like by that point, Ghost, like, even if you don't like it, you can agree, yeah, Makoto finally letting Kanon do her own thing, especially if the Blades Inspector special was any indication. So,
I mean, like, I did not watch that, but like, from what I know of Makoto, that's like still fairly in character, and it's also a big part of why I don't like his character.
Yeah. It's. I really wish they. Maybe the suit's already in the process of being kit bashed into something new. So who knows?
But on the flip side of that, like great Koichi action in this episode. Yeah. None of it felt horny at all, and like I was really impressed that during the bits where Poppy and Izu are fighting on their own, they're like doing the exact fighting styles they had from back during their original premiere or debuts. Like it felt like it was those same characters in the suits. It wasn't just generic rider action.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I love what like the writers like and old Toku suits in general have like a personality of way of movement, for lack of a better word. Like with like Izu's politeness or Poppy's skirt.
In suit continuity, I think, is a term I've heard before.
Yeah, I think that's a good term. There's one more thing I want to talk about in this episode, but it's
the fashion shoot.
The fashion shoot's pretty cool, but like that was more of an end credits thing. It was in the episode. Yeah. It was like it was just a wrap
up scene, and like it's hilarious how it's like this whole special, like everybody's clowned on this on Twitter now, but the whole special, it's like been super obvious that fucking Hana and Sakura. Yeah, it's super obvious that they're supposed to be gay. We just can't explicitly say they're gay. And then the wrap-up scene is like, Hana, you're my unofficial sister now. And everybody's like, oh, they get along so well, like real sisters. And it's like, okay, Toei, okay.
That literally felt like so last minute, being like, okay, this is too gay.
That was big. Let's dress up and travel together energy.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I forgot what else I could say about this episode. But the music choices. I love that they brought all the OSTs from like all the series. Like even the Rinko, she got the wizard little like flourish, and I'm like that felt really cool.
And they used Janine's theme for like the big team fight, which I think is the first time that's ever actually been used in anything.
Yeah, like outside of the soundtrack, it's like, I mean, I thought Janine's theme's okay. I think Honda's theme, which is the end credits for this special, is way better. But like, what you gonna do?
I kind of like it. I kind of liked the use of it in this. It felt very It felt very like upbeat and like, yeah, we're gonna beat the bad guy and go and have fun.
I don't think it's a bad song. I just prefer Riot and Bloom so much more.
Oh yeah, Riot and Bloom is great.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's all for. I think that's the last Revice content we have until the crossover.
Until the V-Cinema next, which I don't even know if that's gonna get subbed in a timely enough manner for me to think to do it on the show.
I mean, we'll probably still do it when it does get subs.
Yeah. But let's do some superhero time.
Yeah, been banger ever since Geats premiered. It's been banger after banger week for this block. But first, Kamen Rider Geats, episode 3, Encounter 2, Zombie Hunting. This was a crazy episode, but very fun.
This was the first episode of the show I think I was actually really into as I was watching it. Like, the first two weren't bad. It's just like, I had the same kind of thing I had with She-Hulk, where I was like, I understand what's going on here. I appreciate it. But it wasn't until this week that there was an episode where I was like fully engaged the whole way through.
Yeah, probably because it's like, this is the episode where it's like, they're kind of committing to the premise of video game battle royale, and like the death game, and like, they're exploring more of the world they set up.
And there's lots of fun like character dynamics and interplay here. It doesn't feel like we're setting anything up anymore. Like we know what the premise is and we're just kind of going from there. And there's lots of fun moments.
Also,
there's
before we get
outside the game than I thought we would get.
Yeah, and I think that's really good because one of my favorite parts about Ryuki is like all the moments outside of the Rider War where we get to ground the characters. And it seems like I feel like a problem with recent writers is that they haven't been able to ground the characters in like day-to-day life, and this is like doing that in some way. So yeah, and the lobby, the midway point lobbies help so much. That's
I like that they have that kind of like they're kind of using that set as like the breather point of the episode.
Yeah, like it may seem formulaic, but it's good. Like it's a good storytelling device for the show. But before we get into like the actual story, Ginpei got Kiryu'd out of the open.
Yeah, I straight up, I was like watching the opening with bated breath to see what they were going to do. I half expected them to put a new guy in there, but no, just straight up Kiryu'ing him out. I was like, oh, my heart.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he might come back as like some sort of like hallucination or even like return to the game for redemption later. Or I could be completely wrong, but like, dang, that still hurts.
Yeah, that was like, oof. But then, like the opening scene where we get the concierge lady, is that her name? Is that like her term?
Neon's mom?
No, the lady, the black and white lady talking to Tycoon.
Let me go Google her
in his bedroom.
Oh yeah, where it's like you can't you can't tell anybody about this because you'll get disqualified. Surumuru.
Yeah, I like that. Like they take some time out of this episode to very firmly establish, like, no, there are rules and there will be penalties for them. Like you have that scene, and then there's like several moments where it's like, hey, attacking other riders is forbidden, and if you do it, you're going to lose points.
Yeah, where it's like it kind of like plays into something about the something Takahashi said in the interview. This is going to be more about saving people and like helping out an enemy destroying rather than like traditional rider. The rider conflict is coming through the ideals, not the actual fighting, you know?
I mean, like that moment also like super endeared me to Tycoon, where Mary is like, hey, how come you have so many points even though you didn't kill any monsters? He's like, I saved people. I did what we were supposed to do, you idiot.
Yeah. Really interesting stuff.
Also, your boy got the arrow buckle and didn't die. The curse has been lifted.
Well, for now. Well, like legit, it does like it kind of does mean like the arrow buckle, like well, for one, it fits with Tycoon's color scheme, but also just like it's a nice little like unsaid memento of his boss. So
yeah. And I kind of love that they use that again, that whole little subplot of him saving people to set up something for the next episode, because he gets the boost rise buckle and it's never brought up again this episode. Like you know that's something that's going to play into the climax next week. Yeah,
we already seen an image of a certain character who's using the boost buckle next episode, so that's all I'll say. Also, the zombie, like we haven't really got like a zombie story in Kamen Rider since X-Aid. And like this was like a fun way to do it, especially because this is the beginning of a two-parter, so And like at the end of the episode, it's like 2 of our contestants are already infected. So like, will one of them go? Will both of them survive? Will only one survive? You know?
I think we're gonna. Just based on like how this episode went and kind of how the previews played. I think they're trying to make us think Neon is gonna or Nago. That's her rider name.
Yeah.
Nago is gonna die next week, but it's gonna be like a surprise twist of like, no, she barely survives, and Dapon gets his just desserts.
Oh yeah, Dapon's I feel like the great thing about this show so far is that they're fleshing out the cast so much that like if someone died, it would be like a fitting end right then to their arc. Specifically Dapon, because he's already been fleshed out so much where it's like I'm okay with him dying next episode if they choose to do it. Although I
also can't believe we finally have a writer that's a bigger fuckboy than Michi.
Yeah, like he just through his like a couple episodes, like he's already being like such a incel like bro. And it's like, bro, why did they have to make the Panda Man? The marketable Panda Man is like, I'm going to kill everyone.
Yeah, he's straight up like they're straight up like using school shooter imagery with him, which was very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Kamen Rider, and especially Takahashi seasons have always kind of like dealt with like very edgy, quote unquote, not edgy, like harsh imagery when it comes. If they want to portray a theme, they'll go for it, even if it's kind of tasteless. And so I wasn't too surprised about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like it's just one of those things where like I didn't realize that was like a really culturally known thing in Japan. Like it's very unfortunately something we're very used to here in America. But like I always hear other countries say like, yeah, that's either extremely rare or it just doesn't happen here. So like to see it in a piece of Japanese media was like, oh shit, really? Okay.
And then again, we don't live in Japan nor follow the Japanese news as frequent as American news. So
true.
Also, that fight when like Geets is like saving Nago in the zombie form.
Yeah,
I love the piano that's playing. Like Geets' like motif is like this like JRPG piano. I love it.
He has a very jazzy kind of sound to his part of the score.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of does play into he's taking control of the situation kind of vibes we getting from him.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was a great looking fight. I love when he dived out of the window and there was that big explosion.
Yeah, it's like just a lot of things are clicking in this episode. Also, we didn't even talk about Neon, who was kind of like the focal point of this episode.
Yeah, I don't like super love her, but I do feel for her in this episode, especially after the scene with her mother.
Yeah. Also that scene with John Geets was pretty funny.
Yeah, he did fucking. I busted a gut when he asked Ace for an autograph.
Yeah, that was cute. Yeah. Also, we also got like a couple like hints of the other characters' henshin poses. Neon's is just like cat like little thing. I found that funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Tycoon's doing. I feel like he's doing like a variation of the Gates.
I think it's a reference to Rider 2. It looked like Rider 2's henshin to me.
Maybe he's like Rider 2 with both arms. So
yeah,
it reminded me more of Gates with like he like using like 2 hands for the Jiku driver.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but like solid episode. Very I kind of hope they keep the 2-parter streak up a bit. It's been a while since we've had a Rider series that consistently does 2-parters.
I would like it if they kind of like go 2-parter, couple one-offs, 2-parter, a one-off, 2-parter. Yeah. Like kind of keep it mixed up.
Yeah, like early Revice or something.
Mm-hmm. Also, one more thing before we move on, because everybody has mentioned this, so people might comment if we don't. They fucking made fun of pay-to-win mechanics, which is great.
The subtitles we used explicitly said pay-to-win, which is great. Although I think there's like variations on that statement in the other subtitles. It's just that was really cool. But I love how it's like it's like Fortnite because it's pay-to-swag, not pay-to-win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great episode.
Yeah, and Dawn Brothers was arguably better, maybe? We'll talk about this. Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers, episode 29, Morning and Murasame.
Yeah, this episode was really good. I kind of feel like it's on par with this week's Geats. I wouldn't say either is better than the other one, but
well, then again, Don Brothers is more time to establish these points, and like we are looking forward to seeing what's coming of like Murasame and other stuff. So
yeah, and I mean this episode was also just fun because like it felt like we were learning so much about this universe that we've been asking questions about for so long, and yet there was also constant "wait, what" moments in this episode.
Yeah, especially the ending. But let's start from the beginning. First off, funeral jerks.
Yeah,
As we call them.
Like
they're just us.
They're called the council members by everybody. So I guess like they're the leader. They're either the leaders or they're just like more higher up members of whatever organization the Cerebrands belong to.
Yeah. And like they basically is like you're getting invited to your enemy's funeral. Have fun.
and it's a big obvious trap, but Taro's like, I gotta pay my respects.
Yeah.
I gotta do it. I killed him. I owe it to him.
Yeah, I'm showing up. Your biggest hater showing up at your funeral.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we finally got some elaboration on Murasame. I think outside of his debut episodes, we didn't really learn much about Murasame. Just kind of
Murasame and Jiro, because like we learned that Jiro straight up has multiple personality disorder. It's not a weird power thing. He's always been this way.
Yeah, it's just, and I kind of like how it's like, okay, I can't speak for this because I don't have it, but like as someone who does have mental health issues, I kind of like how it's like, okay, it's actual like it's a more grounded thing, but it's just enhanced because he's part of the Don clan. And like a Don brother, it's like it's kind of exaggeration, but still grounded.
Yeah, and I also just enjoyed that flashback because it felt very Sentai to me. Like he becomes a good boy with the power of friendship.
Yeah, and basically the big revelation was that Feral Jiro was the original Jiro in some way.
And I should also like just state real quick. I had a slip of the tongue there. It's not called multiple personality disorder anymore. The correct term these days is dissociative identity disorder.
Okay. Thanks for the elaboration.
Yeah, but there's that, and we also basically like it's not outright said, but they basically establish that Murasame has the same thing going on. Like Mother is not an actual being controlling Murasame; it's another voice in his head or their head, I guess.
Yeah, like maybe their mother's dead. Oh my god, that was stupid. This is a very obscure joke, but like Don Murasame is just the twist of the Bionic Commando reboot, where the loved one has been with you the whole time.
But like we find out that we also find out that Murasame apparently escaped their tube before they were finished, and that's why they kind of have all these weird things going on, and they get their freedom in this episode specifically so they can figure out who they are better. And it turns out who they are is like a weapon designed specifically for killing bestials, apparently.
Yeah, I think we got the first bestial murked in this episode, which is like... And also, we like when the sword starts going around possessing the Don brothers and Cerebrands, Tsubasa runs into what was Miho?
Miho. That's her name for Kiji. But I forget what her name was. Tsubasa was. Oh god, it's like something with an M. I think.
Go Google this. Oh man, as much as we complain about the Rider and Ranger wikis, they're being very helpful this episode.
Yeah.
Natsumi.
Natsumi, yeah. So it was an N, not an M. But yeah, he runs into Natsumi, but he's being mind controlled, so he doesn't remember it. Anyway, fucking continuing to find ways to work around this shit.
Yeah, although I think, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think the preview, we might be heading to a climax of that storyline, or at least hitting the fan with, like, a new revelation, a new development in that storyline.
It's entirely possible. I mean, like, Dom Brothers has really been moving lately.
Yeah, I mean, like, as, like, Shirakura and Inoue said, the chains are lifted, the summer chains are lifted now, they can go, like, ham and, like, start fully developing the story they've been like planting seeds for. And then like Sonoi's like weird demon armor. I don't. And then like
I don't pretend to understand that outside of I think he's coming back to life.
yeah, well, I guess they used like his power to get Danmo Motaro juice, which they spill on Sonoi's body, which revives him.
It's weird.
Like I've been like on board of the show, and I still am, but like now I think I've hit my limit.
Yeah, like I forget who made that tweet, but somebody made a tweet that's just like me and the boys watching Dom Brothers every week, and it's just a compilation of Red Letter Media guys going, "What?" while watching a movie. And that kind of was how I felt this episode, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but like it's a good kind of what. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like still a very fun show, very charming, very Inoue, but like it feels like again, it kind of feels like a finale for Inoue. Grand, like basically, what if Shogeki Goragon had more than 13 episodes, and was aimed at kids?
That's very esoteric.
Yeah, I know I wrote Shogeki Goragon, and I can compare Goragon and Don Brothers a lot in terms of character archetypes and themes.
Interesting.
I might make a video about that with Don Brothers. We'll see.
That could be fun. Like, honestly, Dom Brothers has been so dense so far. I think you could probably squeeze like 3 or 4 videos out of it.
I've already squeezed the preview video, but that was more about general previews and tokusatsu. Anyway,
but I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff going on in it, and you can extrapolate that into more than just a big Don Brothers review video.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot I want to talk about this show when it's all said. I'm gonna wait till it's all said and done so I can picture and not look like a jerk later. Where I'm like, oh, well, I got this detail wrong because it's actually this,
Yeah, but I think that's all we have to say on the new releases, unless you have like a few more minor things to say about Dom Brothers.
I don't know.
All right, let's go ahead and move on into old stuff and toys then.
Yeah, you go first. My voice is tired.
I have to blow my nose, so let's just be quiet for a second while I do that. All right, so I, like most other people who pre-ordered it, got the KuugaOnBluuga this week, and so I'm going to go ahead and get my one complaint out of the way real quick, and that is mine did not arrive in mint condition. I had a pretty decently sized dent on the front of the box, which you can't really see in the image I posted on Twitter. My thumb is covering it up, but like there is just very obviously just a nice ding right there, and that made a chunk of the like a small chunk of the case break off on the inside. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible, and it didn't affect the discs at all. So I'm not like gonna contact Shout Factory and try and get a replacement and throw a big fit on Twitter. But it is unfortunate, especially because like I have no idea how it happened. The shipping box looked perfectly fine, and the poster is pristine. So I think this might have just been like they tossed it in the box or something, and it happened that way.
I mean, I just like I got the 5-man set last week, and that had a huge like the case, like inner case was like pieces all over, and that was not fun. So
yeah,
I
this
mean,
is much more minor than what happened to your 5-man set, which is why I'm not like pissed off about it. I'm like, it could be worse.
Yeah. My Kuuga set, I also have it in hand. It arrived in neat condition, very, very clean. I like it a lot. How it came.
So clearly, it's just the luck of the draw when it comes to Shout Factory these days.
Yeah, I do hope they start, because especially if like we as Toku fans want to support Toku DVD releases to get more Toku in the West. I feel like they might need to step up their like.
They need to invest in some packing peanuts.
Yeah, that freaking get some newspaper or something. I don't care.
Yeah, but other than that, I think this is a fantastic set. Like I really dig just about everything about it. The presentation is really nice. I normally kind of dog on Shout Factory for having very simplistic menus, but in this case I really dig it because it's a real quick just select your subtitles, select the episode or hit play, and you're in the show. Which, with a show that's kind of notorious for being very slowly paced, you kind of need that. You need to get into it as fast as possible. And the subtitles are really well timed. Like there's some slight translation choices that I'm like, I would have gone a little different on that, but I'm not an expert in Japanese, so what do I know? And I was so happy that they put a stroke on the subtitles and a drop shadow as well. Like, because
the
I
streaming
can't.
release had that, I think, or because I
Yeah,
watched the original.
but
I first watched Kuuga through the Shout Factory streaming release. That was pretty good.
I have never checked that out, but I think it was either 01 or something else they recently did not have a stroke on the subtitles, and that's a huge pet peeve of mine. You need to have a stroke on subtitles. Otherwise, if they appear on like a bright part of the image, it's hard to read them.
Yeah, fair.
But
No, I'm gonna complain about Can I complain about the visual design of this case? Because there's a lot of great visual. This looks like, because I can only speak aesthetically because I haven't actually watched anything from it. But like, if it's anything like the streaming release,
I'll talk about the video quality in a minute.
Yeah. The English. So here's the weird thing. So they have two logos on this packaging. They have this credit card silver logo saying Kamen Rider Kuuga in English, and then they got the Japanese logo on
one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other, or translate the Japanese logo. Like,
yeah,
and also the English.
I don't mind going with either of them, but having both of them right there just looks kind of awkward.
Yeah, I will admit I do like the like you can on the like if you can actually see some Grongi on the bottom of the like front case. Although here's the thing, the actual cover, like I think it's a good image. Kuuga in the bike. I can kind of see the kind of shadowed over. They didn't want to make a PNG, so you could see the background of like the. It's like they took a stock image from Google Images and just kind of like
a little bit. And also, I wish like each image was a different form. Like that's very nitpicky, but that's just a thing I would prefer.
Like on the disc, like
no, like on the on the disc, yeah. Like we talked about with the 01. I wish each disc was a different character.
Yeah.
But like I've kind of accepted that Shout Factory is just not going to do that. But on the back where they have the free screen caps, I wish each screen cap was like a different form or something. Like have like maybe growing, mighty, and then ultimate.
Yeah, like put like ultimate, maybe one of the rising forms. There's a lot you could do, and it's like I don't like. It's a good set, but like maybe either Shout Factory needs to lower the prices of these or get better at the visual design.
Yeah,
because like compared to
not get better, but get more creative.
Yeah, more creative. Because like the Ultraman sets, like each disc has like a new character, a new form, a new pose. And like the menus, there aren't the great. These menus are better than the Ultraman sets, admittedly. Because the Ultraman, if you have the 01 set, you know what the Ultraman menus look like. But like yeah.
Now the actual video quality on this is fucking gorgeous. Like so to basically, because I don't think I've talked about Kuuga a whole lot on this show because I watched it about a year before we started this show. When I originally watched Kuuga, I watched a very old sub that was uploaded to a semi-illegal streaming site that was not terrible quality, but was just like obviously very poor. And then when I watched it with Grongi, the quality was a little better, a little more like what I imagine original broadcast quality was. And then watching this, it doesn't look as good as like an HD thing shot today, but it looks like it's in 720.
Yeah.
Like it is properly upscaled to fit into an HD screen. There's no letterboxing. And nothing looks stretched, at least not to my eye. And the quality of the image is so good that in some shots I could actually see like the pores on the actors' faces, which is not something I've ever seen on like a HD upscale, except for maybe like the Star Trek: The Next Generation Blu-rays, where they went in and like completely remade the show from scratch.
Yeah.
So video-wise, sub-wise, I feel like this is a very good set. It's just like the case and the general presentation is a little lackluster. But ultimately, I just want to be able to watch this without having to go on a website that has 50 million ads and may get me arrested someday. And I got that in really good quality, so I'm happy with my purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I've already watched the Shout Factory things, but like I'm happy to have like a physical representation of Kuuga in me hands. again, I just have lots of nitpicks of Shop Factory for how much these sets are putting us back. They got competition now. They got competition. Yeah. They need to step up.
Much like Sentai and Rider actually did in the last year, they need to step up.
Yeah, step it up to the things Michael Jackson song, I think.
If that's a Michael Jackson song, I've never heard of it. But
if it's from Captain EO, I just never.
Yeah, we have a fucking Captain EO reference on this podcast.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready to talk about my things now.
All right, you do that, and then we'll wrap up with Black RX.
All right, I finished Kamen Rider Den-O. I actually watched the first half of the show a while back. Really loved the first half. Second half, it's still a lot of the good stuff, like charming characters and one-off plots and emotions. It kind of became a bit too messy around the mid-30s. Like, okay, so, God, how do I explain this? It's not a bad show. Nothing about this show is offensively bad or, like, garbage. But it just, like, the end just feels so, like, bloated and unnecessary. It's like, the secondary writer, like Zeronos, he's basically all the plot you get. And then there's a final villain who's just kind of existing. He's fun, but he's just kind of existing. I don't know. It felt like it could have had a better, like, overarching story, in my opinion.
Your opinions on older writer shows I haven't seen yet are always so interesting. Because, like, I've been around long enough that even though I haven't seen these shows, I've heard so much about them. And from what I've heard, Den-O is like a love it or hate it show. So to hear you have, like, such a middling opinion on the back half is really interesting.
Yeah, I think people are saying the Kabuto back half was bad. No, bro, the Kabuto back half is great. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's another thing where, like, there's people who think the Kabuto back half is weird, and then there's people who think it's Kino.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's weird and Kino, in my opinion. But, like, honestly, like, I found the Den-O back half much more, like, meandery. Like, there's less of a point. I mean, there was, of course, a point, but just if I was less invested. And, like, the characters are still good. I didn't really, like, the episodes where they tied into the movie, like, I Am Born, were kind of okay. I don't watch the movies for these watches. So that was a bit weird, like, those episodes where they were tying into I'm Born. I like the Taros. The Taroses are fun. Momotaros especially, like, is really good. You could really feel the passion. Seiji Takaiwa was suit acting in that role, and the voice actor to it. Ryutaros, I know people don't like him. He's my favorite because I just love the dragon hip hop gun boy.
He's the purple boy, right?
Yeah, purple boy. Yeah.
I like what I've seen of him in, like, after Den-O appearances.
Yeah, and, like, so I've heard some people are like, oh, the Den-O characters are so out of stuff, and I'm like, I don't really see that. I guess because they just don't have a much emotional beats to do. Because, like, you compare that, like, they don't really have, like, they're mostly there for comedy and the other stuff. But, I mean, like,
from what I hear, they're like Kamen Rider takes on Deadpool, and, like, Deadpool is one of those characters where he has a deeper ethos to him, but, like, the general point of him is just to be, like, a goofy joke character to make you laugh in a tense situation. And so, like, even if it's supposedly out of character, it still makes sense if it's funny.
Yeah, although, like, the Taros bits post Den-O have been hit and miss from what I hear. Heisei Forever, like, I'm growing a lot, like, just watching these shows. I'm growing a lot more appreciation for Yo, and it's just by watching this, oddly enough. Like, the only thing I got pissed about was Fies, but even then, Fies is one of my lower tier writers. I still like it, one of my lower tier writers. So I can, like, what you gonna do? I'm not as passionate about. I don't know why. I find, like, looking back on the Geo episode of Hibiki, I should hate it, but it was fine. It was fine. Not one of the best tributes, but it was way better than it could have been. Anyway,
how do you feel about the Decade Hibiki episode?
I haven't gotten to Decade yet. We're doing Kiva next.
Oh, I keep forgetting you haven't actually seen Decade. Cause,
I haven't seen half of Decade. I haven't gotten to the Hibiki episode of Decade yet, so...
Yeah. Like, I don't love Decade the show. I love Decade the character, but the show is, like, a real mixed bag for me. But even though I haven't seen Hibiki, I love the Hibiki episode of Decade.
I heard great things about that episode. Like, I'm very excited to get to that on my Decade rewatch. Although, like, I think, like, oddly enough, I've just been, like, growing a more appreciation for the stuff people are like, oh, you're gonna hate this with the context. And I'm like, no, I love I kind of like liking Decade and Geo more as I watch these older seasons, and it's like I don't know, very interesting for me. Just because it kind of proves that like, oh, these guys were smarter than you. That they're doing a bit more. Yeah, it wasn't the way you exactly wanted, but they were being smarter about the homages. Like people are like, why is the Ryuki episode lawyer based? Who was one of the major characters in Ryuki? Like Kitawaka, a lawyer. Anyway, that's also I watched the Ultraman Zearth duology. Now, basically, Ultraman Zearth is an anniversary project for the Ultraman and Tsuburaya. And basically, the best way I could describe Zearth is, you know Dan Hibiki from Street Fighter?
Vaguely.
Like the joke character of Street Fighter. This is Ultraman Dan Hibiki, and like he's very silly, he's very jokey, but there's a heart to it. That like there's a reason he has passionate fans, you know.
Interesting.
The second movie was a bit weaker than the first, but like it was fun. I feel like a third movie helped it. It's just apparently they were gonna make a third Zero, but the Ultraman Tiga, Dyna, and Gaia movies they just forgot about making the Zearth 3. So
sure.
Yeah, I mean, those were a big success, so I can't fault them for going where the money is.
Yeah.
But yeah, a good selection of stuff this week. Might come back with Kiva next week. I don't know. I watched the Exercise video first. That's a great video. From what little I know about Kiva, Exercise is like might be the best part from it, but we'll see what I think of Kiva soon. Talk about Black RX. How you enjoyed the sequence?
So I finally watched a bunch more Black RX. I watched episodes 11 through 17, and 4 episodes out of that are like a full-on story advancement arc, and they're the first chunk of RX that I would call legitimately great. Because it's a whole like sub-story about Kotaro's niece getting kidnapped by Crisis because the Prince of the Empire accidentally died in a procedure to age her up so she could take over the Empire sooner. And they're trying to brainwash / age up Kotaro's niece so she can take the princess's place.
I like that.
It's very like, ooh, I don't know but it works as a villain plot. Okay. Like it's like oh damn, you guys are bastards for doing this kind of effect. And you buy Kotaro's like desperation to get her back because he full on goes to the Crisis homeworld and hooks up with. We find out there's rebels on the Crisis homeworld, and he hooks up with them and kind of becomes like the figurehead of the Crisis Rebel Alliance.
Well, that's where Mask Rider got its premise from.
Kinda, yeah. And also, this is where Robo Rider and Bio Rider are introduced, and I've always thought they were very meh forms, just seeing pictures and toys of them. They rock in context, especially Robo Rider, because Robo Rider is introduced in a scene where they trick Kotaro, the people who have kidnapped his niece, trick Kotaro into thinking they killed her, and he just, like, loses it and starts screaming in anger, and his pure anger at her death allows him to turn into the new form. And the form is introduced as the Prince of Sorrow. It feels so like raw and badass in that like hot-blooded Showa way. And then Bio Rider, which is arguably the lamer suit, gets like a pretty cool introduction too, because it's very much like him taking that angry power and being like, okay, I need to focus now. It's the final battle. I need to be much better at controlling myself and dealing with these things. So I'm going to become this kind of blue liquid-based form that's much more cool and has much more natural movements to it. By the way, the suit acting for both those forms is immaculate too, because Robo Rider is very, very stiff, very sudden movements, and Bio Rider has kind of like a flowing, almost dance-like movement to it. It's super cool to watch.
Ooh.
Also, this is the introduction of Kotaro's somewhat infamous sidekick from Black RX, Joe the Haze, who is another person that was kidnapped by Crisis and turned into a cyborg, but he's not a Kamen Rider because he escaped before it could go that far.
Oh.
So like he so far I don't dislike him. He's just very obviously I am Psychic Man to get other characters out of the way while Kotaro has the cool fight. But overall, it was a really engaging arc, and like it's the first time I've actually really gotten into RX, and I like there's a part of me that thinks it probably won't because I know there's no other like toys or shit for them to introduce. But I do hope it somewhat keeps up this momentum going forward. The next episode preview for episode 18 at least looks kind of interesting.
Ooh.
So I've gone from being like, I don't know how I feel about Black RX. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's really lame, to being like, okay, this show has some really cool stuff in it. Let's see where it can go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds like you had a really good week of Black RX.
Definitely. But I think that's everything we have to discuss. So, Buster, why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff?
Hi, I'm Buster Corp. I do the YouTube videos. Lots of variety. We do Toku stuff, video game stuff, freaking stuff about other YouTubers. We do a lot of variety here at the Buster Corp YouTube channel of like analysis and maybe skits. We'll see. So yeah, go subscribe. Also at Twitter at BusterBlade3 if you want to hear my insufferable opinions. Yeah.
Very clean. I am the Vacuuminator. I make video essays about tokusatsu and things. Although I probably won't be getting out a new one until maybe Christmas time due to some computer issues I'm having right now. So just please go and check out my back catalog and bear with me until then. And hey, a great place to do that as well is my Twitter, where I can make new content whenever I want, because Twitter is extremely easy to use, which is why anyone is on there. It's at the Vacuuminator, and I'm also still posting figure photography on the daily to Instagram at _Vacuuminator. But folks, that is it for this week in Tokusatsu. Pretty packed week. We had a lot to talk about, a lot of cool things to say, but that's going to do it. So hopefully you'll join us back here next time for whatever happens that week in Tokusatsu.